Well, let us begin. First of all, welcome to St. Elizabeth. I'm Brother Juan Jose Juaregui, one of the Franciscan friars. So we're going to start with our prayer. May be a peace. May my heart be open to your love, God. May our heart be open to your peace. May God reign in our hearts and our neighborhoods. Peace to you, peace to me. May God bless us and keep us and show his face to us.
To be here with you all, walking testament to God's grace and greatness. But before we get into all that, I just want to kind of share the journey of where we are and how we got here. You know, for me, law enforcement, I was able to serve the Oakland community for 29 years, wearing a uniform in a city that I grew up in, raised my kids in, and currently live in right now. But my love affair for the Oakland Police Department didn't start out that way. I was just like any other young black man in the city of Oakland with a very contentious relationship with the police. I was going to Cal State Hayward, telling my parents that I wanted to be an attorney, so they keep paying my tuition, putting money in my pockets and buying my books. But I had no intentions or aptitude to ever be an attorney. So one day in class, my professor called me up after talking a lot, and he asked me, "Young Joyner, what are you going to do with yourself?" I puffed up my chest, I fixed my shirt. I said, "Sir, I'm going to be an attorney." He looked back and said, "No, for real. So what are you going to do with yourself?" I says, "I don't know." He says, "I think you would be a great police officer." I know we're on church grounds, but I said, "Hell no. Are you crazy?" He says, "Why not?" So after I gave him a litany of things that's happened to me personally, to my family, to my friends, I thought I'd drop the mic. Sorry to the translators, I apologize. But again, I was telling them that things that happened to me is absolutely why I would never become the police. With that said, he told me it's exactly why you should become the police. It isn't until people from different walks of life, different experiences, different backgrounds, join the agency, rise to a level where they can affect change, the change will never happen. I came home and I prayed real hard on it. I filled out my application, and sure enough, I became an Oakland police officer. It's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my whole entire life, serving this community. And one thing I can tell you is that from day one, I heard from the various highest levels in government, from the president on down, that we had a war on drugs and we're going to go out there and have zero tolerance. I took that to heart. I put on a uniform, I went out there in our community, and I was one heck of a narcotic officer. I put so much dope and guns on the table, I received so many awards. By the time I retired as the most decorated officer in OPD history. When I look back in the 90s, that's not for applause because it's kind of a sad thing. But I look back in the 90s when I was receiving all those awards, we still had 140 people lose their life in the city of Oakland. So it causes pause and ask, were we really doing the right thing? Were we focused on the right people? What about the lives and the families that got destroyed along the way? In 2012, I was blessed again. And I had an opportunity to come and work with Reagan Harmon, who's now Reagan Cunningham, and Barbara DeSalvo. And a lot of the credit that does not get acknowledged is the fact that we set forth to do this Ceasefire program, not because it was a police initiative, not because it was an elected officials initiative, but it was an initiative that was born from the streets of Oakland, from the community, and from people just like you in this audience. So please give yourselves a round of applause. With that said, there's a couple people I actually want to acknowledge for that hard work that started back in 2012. Our Honorable Mayor, Jean Quan, who's here in the audience right now. It took an enormous amount of courage for her to change and have a paradigm shift in terms of how she wanted police service to be done here. Although Mayor Quan will also tell you that her and I didn't agree a lot sometimes, but one thing we agreed upon was the fact that we need to do something different to save people's lives. That was all a contribution of people just like this. We could talk all day about what the police department did, but this is about people who weren't wearing uniforms, who did not have badges and guns, people who are just like you, the Miss Barbaras, the Reverend Damitas, who demanded something different. That brings us to the fact that 10 years ago, we decided that the community was going to take an active engagement and role in violence reduction. And one of the things they decided to do is they were going to go out in the community and meet people where they are. Meaning that every Friday, they were going to come together, walk the neighborhoods, and share a message of love, faith, and hope. They went out and told people that we wanted to see you alive and free, and they would demand that the police department do everything possible to make sure that they had every opportunity they could. With that said, 10 years later, we're here right now. And I like to say that there's still, although I've been gone since August 7th, 2019 at 9 a.m., not that I'm counting, but there's still many men and women who wear a uniform that want to still continue and champion this cause. But I can tell you that without your voices, without your demand, you're going to see things in directions of the police department being pulled in different ways. We as citizens have to demand what we want. We have to hold our elected officials who are here today, who are dedicated to giving you what you need: prosperity, health, and wealth. And you need to be able to feel safe. And with that said, we need to hold them accountable and make sure that we're doing it in a correct way, applying 21st century policing to 21st century crime. So today I stand here in front of you, welcoming you to this 10th anniversary march. I stand here as a humble citizen, grateful for the opportunity to have served you before, and grateful to continue in partnership with you and night walks and whatever it takes to save people's lives. So welcome tonight. Please be safe in your walking. And again, let's give all ourselves a round of applause for the great work that we're doing and the great work we will continue to do.
We're honored to bring forward a resolution acknowledging Queen Terri with the council. And so I'm going to read the resolution that was unanimously adopted by the entire city council, acknowledging this incredible warrior who has dedicated herself in many ways to our community. The Ceasefire OCO program is just one of many ways that she has contributed so much to our amazing city. And so it reads, resolution honoring and recognizing the life and activism of Terri McWilliams, an Oakland native who was a public sector leader and community organizer, who held leadership positions in several organizations and was an advocate for faith-based community organizing to achieve racial, economic, and social justice for all Oaklanders. Whereas Terri McWilliams was an Oakland native and experienced public sector leader and community activist who served 10 years with the City of Oakland and retired as a manager in the University of California system. And whereas Terri McWilliams was a longtime downtown Oakland Senior Center volunteer and former advisor who chaired the travel committee, worked on the membership committee and the knitting and sewing class, and assisted in managing operations. And whereas Terri McWilliams was a faithful member of the East Oakland Congress of Neighborhoods, the Justice Reinvestment Coalition, and the Imani Community Church, where she served as an usher and member of the Social Justice Ministry. And whereas Terri McWilliams, inspired by her passion for reducing gun violence in Oakland, became a Faith in Action East Bay leader, where she organized and led weekly ceasefire walks throughout neighborhoods experiencing the highest gun violence. And whereas Terri McWilliams helped draft the Police Commission Enabling Ordinance and was a member of the steering committee for the Coalition for Police Accountability. And whereas Terri McWilliams was a dedicated mother, daughter, activist, leader, and marathon enthusiast who lived her life as an example of nobility, grace, and commitment. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Oakland honors the life and legacy of Terri McWilliams and recognizes her leadership and advocacy for public safety and racial, economic, and social justice for all. Thank you. And with that, it is fully I will say, a gesture from the entire council to acknowledge and record Terri's life, legacy, history in the records of Oakland City Hall. I would like to invite Keith McWilliams to receive this resolution.
Politics, budget cuts, and everything else under the sun for 10 years is nothing but a miracle, and that miracle belongs to each and every one of you. When Barbara was asking me, and I'm off script now, when Barbara was asking me about this event, so we had to show this picture, because this is what Ceasefire is all about. This is about the community demanding that this strategy be brought here. When mothers who happen to belong to a faith And specifically, Miss Barbara here was one of those leading organizers. Let's give her a hand. She was relentless. When she talks about organizing me, I had come on to do some civic engagement work with OCO. And she started organizing me to go to this thing called Ceasefire planning, action. And I was like, nope, it's too hot. She said, no, I said, oh, my foot hurt. I'm not walking all those blocks. And I always tell people I was out-organized against my strong will by the best organizer I ever met in my life. And it was September 14th, 2012, when Ben McBride, with some other folks, some national folks, came in and told us about what the community could do. And it was the most rewarding thing, because as a community member, gun violence was all around me, but I felt impotent, unable to do anything about it. And that opportunity to walk the streets and to tell the community and the folks who may be perpetrators and or victims of gun violence that we love them, but we want them to put the guns down, was a very rewarding activity. And so we started walking every Friday night with the exception of a couple of holidays. And OCO, now Faith in Action East Bay, kept that up. And they kept the pedal to the metal. And here we are 10 years later. Now that I've already preached, let me tell you a little bit about Ceasefire. So Ceasefire is, as I said, it's based on partnerships. It's based on data. It's focused deterrence. It means that the police are not going out and having their big footprint all over the community. They are focusing on the small number of folks. You can see in this demonstration right here, there's really a small number of folks who are driving violence in the city. And it's small enough that if we put the effort into it, we can talk to them and ask them to change their behavior. That is part of the fundamental pieces of Ceasefire. The mission says we want to save lives, we want to keep people out of jail, and we want to be able to build trust with the police and our communities. Those are the three mission statements. The 4 parts of Ceasefire is demonstrated in this, over there the little circle is, it's all based on data, analysis, gather information, intelligence, and then we talk to them directly, 2 ways. One by call-ins and one by one-on-ones, what we call custom notifications. The community is a vital part of each and every one of those methods. Some of you may have participated in either one of those things over the last 10 years, and we encourage folks to continue to participate. Then we offer them services. Specifically, we ask them to get with a life coach. I see Pastor Dixon right there. He's one of the best folks, both in call-ins and in the custom notifications. He loves to roll up on the corner. He'll talk to anybody. Guns, pistols hanging out their waist. He gonna tell them to put the guns down. Get some services. And then once they do not take up the services, the last piece is enforcement. And I've had this discussion over and over about whether or not the police should be involved. Absolutely. You need all 4 pieces functioning as best as they can in order for the strategy to work. You can't take one piece out and say, oh, I'm gonna beef up number 2, and we're not gonna worry about number 4 and think it's gonna work. And over the years, as you can see over there, until 2020, March 2020, we were going trending way down, over 42% down in homicides and in shootings. And then we had the pandemic, and we are climbing out of it right now. But all of this, it exists. Talking about Terri, when they were trying to dismantle the Ceasefire unit, Terri stayed in the ears of the city council until they restored what we needed in order to be able to talk to these young men, get them in services, and absolutely do what we say if they didn't stop shooting. So I just want to thank you guys for being here, and I want to remind you that the community piece of this, it is a testament to what and who Oakland is. It takes a village, and Oakland is the best village to stop violence, and you are a part of that village. Thank you very much.
And there was one young man laid down dead, and there was one in the middle of the street. and there was one in the middle of the way, and I went over to him, and we were sitting there, and we were talking to him, and the young man around said, "Pastor, pray for him now." I said, "Give me a minute. Let me take care of some first aid stuff." And we took care of the first aid stuff, and they watched, and then we prayed, and the mother pushed me. Of course, it was her son. I wasn't angry. But one of the guys said, "Hey, let him do what he do." And the mother stepped back, and we prayed for him. He survived. But after that, I said, never again will I let a young man just stand on a corner and we don't address the issues. Whether they be black, brown, green, purple, white, but it's mostly black and brown young men that are dying. We have to be part of this. So it's time for faith, our faith, to meet the streets. We know the story about the Good Samaritan. We can no longer pass by and say we can't be part of that. We got to patch them up, put them in the inn, and say whatever is right, we'll take care of. And that's where our city politicians come into play, to make sure that we can pay.
It's the truth. We're not going to arrest our way out of this problem. We're not going to fix this without the community. The violence, it's at unacceptable levels. It affects everybody, our children, our mothers, our fathers, our neighbors, and just one life lost is one life too much. It has a ripple effect that carries on for generations. And we do know that the people that are engaging in this violence, they're hurting people because they're hurt too. So if we could just even stop one person from picking up a gun and hurting another person, that is a monumental success that we can all be proud of, because we're not just saving the person that's being shot, but we're saving the person that's pulling the trigger's life as well, and saving families on both sides from having to suffer for something they shouldn't have to. So to me, this is a huge thing to be a part of. I'm very proud to be here. I'm proud of everybody that's taken the time out of their day to come forth and celebrate such a great event, and it's such a worthy cause. So thank you for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate it, and be safe. Thank you.
This is the 10th anniversary, and the program started back when I was mayor. In fact, I actually started originally with my staffing after OCO, and I went to visit Boston and Chicago and some of the other cities and saw the program. And we knew we had to do something different with policing. So we started the program, and I'd adopted my own area in East Oakland where the murders were high, and particularly the Friday night walks are a way to tell the community we're here, we care, we're looking, and particularly to reach out to young people to say we care. And so I've been very proud of how successful the Ceasefire program was, and very anxious that it get the full amount of money and staffing that it needs, and that we do the supplementary programs like summer youth job programs for young people. You have to sort of not just take care of the people in trouble, but you have to make sure young people don't get in trouble. So I'm very happy tonight to see a lot of my old friends.
Stop the violence! Stop the violence! Peace of God!
proud that we're in a community where people are willing to give their time to go out. I think that accountability is critical. I think that peace never happens without action, and I will not stop working until that happens.
I was actually involved in OCO many 15, 20 years ago. Went away, came back, and found that it was now Faith in Action, and it truly lives to its name. This walk has been very inspiring to me. It was wonderful to see the response, both from, you know, when you walked in front of the homes or when you, people in the cars honking. There's a lot of people out there that believe this, that want this, and I do too, and I will continue to walk as well. Thank you. Thank you.